distinguished leaders of our movement. I'm sorry that my health prevents me from being with you in person, and I appreciate the opportunity that modern technology has provided as a substitute for me to address you. You know, there's a Hebrew phrase, ki shmo kein hu. As one's name is, so is one. And you, Carol Sterling, I'd like to address just a few words to you as the chairman of our international movement, epitomize that phrase. In the short time you've been serving as chairman, you have demonstrated that you are a sterling leader. And you know why, Carol? Because I've discovered that you, Carol, are a care-all person. No task is too great, no task is too small. So Carol Sterling, continue to lead our movement, to live up to your name, to bring new initiatives, new energy, and new vision to our movement. As for Danny Freelander, it's possible also to relate to him with the term ki shmo kein hu. As one's name, so is one. It's possible to interpret the word Freelander as one who serves in lands of the free. Lander in German is lands, and free, lands of the free. What a better name could we think of for the president of the World Union, which serves in the land of the free? I guess it's Bashert. It's destiny to have the privilege of having someone named Friedlander be the head of an organization which functions in lands of the free. There's no need for me to recount the many contributions, the enrichment that Danny has brought to our movement in deed, in character, in spirit. Wherever he's been, whether a youth leader or a regional director or in charge of the programs of the UAHC or vice president of the Union of Reform Judaism, or a musician, outstanding musician, musicologist. The music which permeates his soul has a harmonizing blessing, has been a harmonizing blessing for the entire movement. So Danny, I don't have to talk anymore about you. Everybody knows you, everybody loves you. You have blessed our movement with your presence, with your deeds, with your words. I do want to talk to you about my perception of what the World Union is. I had the privilege of serving for 26 years, and I would condense the purpose of the World Union into what I would call two mandates. Mandate number one, taken from the book of Leviticus. Esh tamid tukad al hamizbeach lo tichbeh. A perpetual fire shall be kept burning on the altar. Don't let it go out. Wherever there are Jews, it is our sacred task to perpetuate the flame of Judaism. The most recent historic example, of course, is the former Soviet Union. In the 1960s, Elie Wiesel wrote his book, Jews of Silence. But those Jews are silent no more. And in addition to the massive aliyah to Israel, the emigration to countries, Western lands, there are Jews who are living free lives in the Soviet Union, and we are among them. Our movement now has 40 congregations. We have 6 full-time rabbis who are part of a staff of 40 paid professionals. We have an outstanding summer camp program. Our youth movement is the largest in the former Soviet Union. And now we have had the privilege of, together with, in cooperation with the college, the Abraham Geiger College in Berlin, we have the privilege of starting a rabbinical school in Moscow. So wherever we are, what is true in the former Soviet Union is true also in Europe, in Latin America, in the Far East now, and wherever Jews live in, now I'll use the name again, wherever Jews live in free land, in lands of freedom, there we keep the flame of Jewish tradition burning. Now, mandate number 2. Within the framework of the World Union, Reform Judaism made the most consequential historic decision that the movement made, I believe, since the establishment of the movement in America. What do I mean by that? Throughout the many years of developing our movement, somehow or other, Reform Judaism drew away from the centrality of Jewish peoplehood. But then in the 1970s, and within the framework of the World Union, we became what I call the centripetal force of Reform Judaism. We officially rejoined the Jewish people. We moved to the centrality of Klal Yisrael. We made a threefold decision. Number 1, we moved the international headquarters of Reform Judaism to Jerusalem, from New York to Jerusalem, the pulsating heart of the Jewish people. Number 2, we affiliated with the major institutions of the Jewish people, the Jewish Agency for Israel and the World Zionist Organization. And number 3, we declared that we were committed to building a reform progressive movement in Israel, thus determining that our intention was to assume full and equal responsibility for Binyan Haaretz, for the upbuilding of the Jewish state. And during that time, it wasn't easy. There were many internal debates over the decisions which we made. And to those who contended that, how could we go to Israel? We don't have any rights. We countered, but without fighting for your rights, and fighting for your rights in Israel, with an Israel movement for progressive Judaism, we'll never get our rights. We need not only resolutions at conventions or at biennials, we need resolute action in Israel. We need not only faxes sent from biennials, we have to create facts in Eretz Yisrael. And we declared that the chief rabbinate are not our chiefs, and we're not their Indians. We contended that if all Jews do not feel at home in Israel, then Israel will not be home for all Jews. We declared that without Reform Judaism, the state of Israel would not be complete, just as we as a movement, without being in Israel, would not be fulfilled. So today, all Israel knows that we have a rapidly expanding Israel movement for progressive Judaism. Congregations, kibbutzim, schools, kindergartens, an Israel Reaction Center, educational programs, a youth movement, a magnificent world center in Jerusalem. And we will not permit anyone to read us out. We are there. We are an integral part of the Jewish people. Kol Yisrael arivim zeh bazeh. All Israel, every Jew is responsible for every other Jew. And we accept full responsibility, just as we demand full and equal rights. So, dear Danny, this is the movement which it is your privilege to lead. I would summarize my charge to you with the words of the prophet Jeremiah. Yishachar lifulatech. May you have a rich reward for your labor. And to our movement, I would say, continuing the thought of Jeremiah, Yesh tikva la'achritechnu, Adonai, v'shavu banim ligvulam. There is hope for your future when your children have returned to your land and our movement has returned to our peoplehood. Our movement has gotten remarried to Jewish history. There is hope for our future. hope for the future of Am Yisrael, hope for the future of the state of Israel, and hope for the future of all humankind. Hatzlacha b'chol drachecha, Danny. Success in all your endeavors.